days now, Father Jim Chaponis. We're just going to keep things moving here. Go ahead and enjoy your dessert. But everybody, I hope, has had a chance to see our wonderful plaque. Again, Ted Rypka. Ted over here. Hosting this wonderful event.
Checks in the mail, Ted.
This time, if you don't already know who our leadership team members are, and I really give them a lot of credit for us becoming the chapter of the year because of their hard work and their dedication and meeting monthly and over the phone a lot and over the computer a lot, and really I give them all this credit. Our secretary, Ginny Ambrose. Our treasurer, who's wiping his face over there, Bela Potter. And Adam Fehrenbach, who was our former animator of Koinonia, has left the diocese and is now in Columbus, at a church in Columbus. And so Anthony Milbauer has stepped right into the position. Our DMMD director, Daniel Kabasic. And we are currently operating under 3 vicariate coordinators. That will change probably within the next 2 weeks, so that we'll have a 4th vicariate coordinator. But from Vicariate 1, we have Juliana Haig. Robin Shillow from Vicariate 3. And Sherry Whittico from Vicariate 4. And if you haven't noticed already, we are doing a lot with technology and publicity and publications, etc. And these 2 people I am forever grateful for. David Dreyer, our Director of Publicity Coordinator, Diane Falvey. Diane is solely responsible for that beautiful newsletter that came out last year. Just so you know, if you are new to NPM, is there anybody new here tonight, never attended an NPM meeting? What about that young lady there that's giggling? No, I think she's been to a few of those.
This is my second.
But that's the website, folks, and that's where you find all of the information regarding our monthly meetings. We need to encourage other members to come and to join us, and so your task for November, I'm giving you 2 months, is for each person here to invite somebody else that is in there, what do we call these now? Parish groupings, that's what we call them. That is in your parish grouping to join you at our November meeting. We'll talk a little bit about that soon. But we do have all of our monthly meeting info on our website. We need to try to create a new 2019 Pastoral Musicians Directory. So if there has been any change in your employment or where you're now ministering, we need to keep those records updated. You can also join our national organization. There's a link there for that. There's a monthly calendar that tells you exactly when our meetings are, when our leadership team meetings are, so that if you want to bring something up to them, you can contact your vicariate coordinator in advance. And you can access our NPM Pittsburgh YouTube channel. In addition, our DMMD info can be found on our website, any past and current newsletters, a substitute list, positions that are available. Right now, I think there's 1 or 2 that were just added this week. And we have photo galleries from our various meetings and events that you can also take a look at. Okay. So, our next meeting, we have 2 in the month of October. We have one at the beginning of the month and one toward the end of the month. Our first meeting of October is going to be an open rehearsal with the Pittsburgh Youth Chorus. They were formerly the Pittsburgh Festival Chorus. They rehearse at Duquesne University. If you are in charge of a children's choir or thinking of starting a children's choir, you may want to come to that meeting. Their conductor is Angela Maki-Evans, and she will be holding her rehearsal that evening. So we ask that you arrive to Duquesne University, to the School of Music, room 206, and be in place, because the doors close at 6:15, and we certainly do not want to disrupt any of their rehearsal time. So you can't be late. Speaking of that, if you're going to park for free, you can park over at Epiphany Church. We've been granted permission to do that. Otherwise, you can pay it in the Forbes Avenue parking garage. Our second meeting will be toward the end of the month, and that's going to be a combined meeting. We haven't really combined our two groups, the AGO, the Pittsburgh chapter of the AGO, and NPM for a few years. So we are combining our October 22nd meeting. It will be held at St. Paul Cathedral. If you are going to attend, you're going to want to go on our website, go to the page for our combined meeting, and AGO is handling all the reservations for the dinner. It's a typical AGO meeting in that it starts with hors d'oeuvres at 6 p.m., then there's a dinner following that, and then the presentation. There will also be organ music available for you to purchase. Dr. Russ Weissman, who many of you may know, is coming back to Pittsburgh to do a lecture on the life and work of Rudolf von Beckerath. He's done a lot of extensive study on the Beckerath family, and will be presenting a lecture that evening. Future meetings, I certainly don't want to read all through this, but if you haven't read our newsletter, those are all outlined at the front of the newsletter. Perhaps at this time, Daniel, since he is our DMMD director, can talk to you a little bit about our DMMD meeting for November.
On Monday, November 5th, we're going to have our first DMMD meeting, which is going to be at 12:30 p.m. at St. Anthony Chapel. I've only been a member of Pittsburgh Diocese for 7 years, but I've seen pictures of St. Anthony's. I've never been to the chapel itself to see the many treasures and stuff, and I'm looking forward to this, because this year I'm going to be focusing on the ethnic heritage of our own city with that. So I want to try to see some of the beautiful historical churches in Pittsburgh. So our meeting will be on the 5th of November. It's going to be at 12:30. We'll have a special guided tour with that, and we'll have lunch afterwards. So those of you want to come and eat, there will be food. So,
all right.
And that will be up on the website to register within the next week or two.
Okay. David, tell us just a little bit about your the webinar that we're going to be holding in December.
Well, I got a lot of response from the last one that I did in December, and it was about music software. I did a lot of other kinds of things, but this one is going to focus specifically on music software, Allegro Finale, how to write with it, how to create some TIFF files if you're doing worship aids, and being able to transfer those kinds of things to it too. So that'll be the crux of the whole the webinar for that.
Okay, very good. December 10th through the 12th, a new attempt. For those of you that like to do some traveling, we're planning on taking a group to New York City, in which we will visit St. Patrick Cathedral. And depending on whether we get enough folks to do it, I'd like to contact Jennifer there to do an organ crawl or just a presentation on the organ at St. Patrick Cathedral. We are also hoping to get tickets to the Radio City Music Hall Christmas show. Of course, the Rockefeller Center tree will be up. And you're saying, are you crazy? 2 weeks before Christmas? Yes, this is the best time for you to get away. And it's a Monday through Wednesday. Okay, so if you have choir those days, you're going to have to transfer your choir rehearsal to Thursday.
Well, you're retired. We're tired.
And we have a wonderful dinner planned in Little Italy. There'll be more information that come out soon regarding the price and where we're staying and those kind of things. So depending on, I'm hoping that maybe this will take off. I know that some of us have already talked about taking a little trip, now that you can fly to London and you can fly directly to Pittsburgh, to maybe some other destinations across the pond. Maybe looking into something like that in the future. Oh, I'm sorry. November 16th, yes. That's the one where I'd like you to invite someone to participate, to come with you. We, last year, had a wonderful panel discussion. Some of our panelists are actually here today to talk about ideas of how to merge music ministries, all right? Now we're asking Father Sam Esposito to come and present to us, since he is the vicar of On Mission for the Church Alive, just to present to us the diocesan perspective. We are meeting with Father Sam on October 4th, some of our leadership team members, to discuss what that could look like and what the diocese is ready to be transparent about. I didn't mean anything derogatory by that. But we just have questions. I'm sure it lies in the hearts of all of us. And some of those were actually very eloquently brought out today at our retreat. So that's the plan. So we're hoping that on November 16th at St. Thomas More in Bethel Park, that you will join us for that evening. For the new year, we're going to bring back our Pizza Pipes and Prayer. That was kind of fun last year at Neil Stahersky's church. This year, we're going to be doing one about the creation of hybrid organs from existing pipe organs and their advantages. We're bringing back our celebration of Candlemas, which has become somewhat of a tradition, and inviting choirs in the North Hills to join us for Mass on Candlemas Eve, which is a Friday evening, for Mass and a choir fest where everybody gets to sing a couple of the pieces that they prepared for the Christmas season. For the last time, we're going to hold, well, at least we think it's the last time, our Mardi Gras celebration. And we went back and forth on this. Should we do it again? Should we? It's been so successful the last 2 times. But we know it's better just to kind of do things in threes and then look at a different idea for the future. So we are going to, thanks to Tom, who had to leave, Tom's going to host the Mardi Gras celebration this year at his church in Homestead at St. Maximilian Colby. On March 30th, again, if you have children's choirs, you need to register now. Dawn Fellows is kind of taking charge of that. The Pueri Cantoris Festival for mixed voices, grades 4 through 12. And that will be held with Bishop Zubik presiding in a Mass on March 30th. It's a Saturday. So they get together. They have, probably lunch, I believe, rehearse, and more rehearse. And then they have a Mass that evening. So again, more information can be found on our website regarding that. And then April through June, I mean, we have all, this is a very creative leadership team. Anthony's looking into Kennywood for a family picnic where we can actually go and, just like a covered dish thing, and we might be doing that in June, for instance. We're trying to negotiate with our youth department and young people department to perhaps bring in somebody from the outside to do a youth festival. We keep hearing, where are the youth? Where are the youth? What can we do? So we're planning on doing something contemporary in May. And then April, we may or may not have another webinar. So those plans are still in the works. But at this time, I would like to ask this gentleman to come forward. Father Jim Gretz, of course, has been our leader in the worship office for how many years, Father?
Would have been 9 in November.
Would have been 9 in November. And as you know, he is now taking on a whole new role as an administrator of 4 churches. God bless. God bless all of our priests that are trying to deal with that kind of a situation, because we keep hearing the priest shortage, but then the work doesn't get any shorter. The work
giving them all that work.
The work becomes even larger. But Father, we do want to thank you for everything that you have given us, for your support of our NPM chapter, and we have just a little token of our appreciation.
slushy.
I should say Father Dr. Gretz. Does Doctor come before Father, or does Father?
I like Father Doctor.
Father Doctor.
So this is Reverend James R. Gretz. Thank you for your faithful years of service as the Director of the Department for Liturgy and Worship. Through the liturgy, we get a glimpse of heaven. NPM Chapter, September 2018. I was thinking during the lunacy homily, if you will, kind of about my own lunacy. This past January, I keep telling people that I turned 50, which I know depresses everybody when I mention that number. But over the last couple of years, I haven't been calling it a midlife crisis. I've been calling it a midlife renaissance. And just a rebirth for myself, because thanks to Father Mealy and my colleagues at the Secretariat for Leadership Development and Evangelization, there was a lot of work with Strengths Finders and the APEST exam. I think some of you in the LEM Collaborative have heard those things. And as I took the opportunity to do those instruments for myself, I realized that as much as I've done in the worship office, there's other things that I can do and maybe can do a little bit better. And it was about a year and a half ago that I said to Bishop, maybe it's time to transition the office. And he said, no, it ain't going to happen until, 2018. So patiently waited along. But believe it or not, I am excited to go back into full-time parish ministry. I keep teasing people that I will have less headaches, but more help, and the appreciation of those communities to help them envision their futures, to guide us along the way to the kingdom. So I just see this as a wonderful moment for me, for my own growth and development. And as I shared with the parish community, I said, we're in this 5-year track for our reorganization. I said, so if it takes 5 years and I'm a named pastor, a little 6-year term, another little 6-year term, that puts me pretty close to my retirement age. And I thought, this is kind of nice, that I'm planning this part of my life and my ministry, and I look forward to staying in All Saints, where I currently am. I'll be returning to a home, if you will. My very first assignment was St. Bonaventure in Glenshop, and then also picking up Holy Spirit in St. Nicholas in Millvale. So maybe I'm crazy, but I'm just looking forward to it, going back to the lunacy. But I think it's just going to be a good time for me and a good time for the diocese. But not to leave you all in the lurch. I have found this worthy successor to guide you all along the way. I won't tell you the full story, but I called this, about 9 years ago? 9 years ago. When Father Nick came back from Rome, one day I said to him, well, God has revealed the divine plan that I'll get my graduate education, you'll get your graduate education, and then you'll take over the worship office. So half of that came true, but I know Father Nick will serve you well as a musician himself and with a very liturgical heart. So I know that you're in good hands. So welcome, Father Nick.
Final walk, give us a blessing to go forward.
My pleasure. Great and gracious God, we ask you to send your blessing upon all of us as we journey on mission for the church alive. Continue to fill us with your spirit of wisdom so that we may always guide your people to your throne of grace. And send your blessing upon us all now, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
I feel like I need to introduce myself, although I think I've worked for half the people in this room, so it seems. I'm a born and raised Pittsburgher, and I think my involvement in the liturgy goes before I was even in the womb. My mother, when she was a teenager in the late 60s, was in charge of the folk group at St. Maurice in Forest Hills. So there's been a long tradition of music in my family. I got my first job playing the organ thanks to Mary Rita at St. Bernadette's in Monroeville, and took lessons at my home parish at St. James of Wilkinsburg, and worked with Steve at Duquesne, and worked with Adele at St. John and Paul. And so, like I said, this is like old home week in many ways to be with all of you. And I'm really excited about the new work that the bishop has assigned me to. When we were standing on either side of Father Mealy today, I thought this is like the changing of the bodyguards. But just still trying to figure out, how everything works. And I know Father Jim has lots of binders ready for me to keep things organized. No, I'm just very excited. In essence, it does go back about 9 years. When I was in seminary and in Rome, and the bishop was asking me about what I'd like to study for my sort of specialized degree, I said, well, I'm interested in liturgy and things like that, so that's what he assigned me to study. So I have a degree in liturgical theology. It's a dogma degree, and it answers the question, why? Why do we do what we do, which is what people are always asking. So hope to be able to share that and to share with all of you just the good work that you do. Worship is our act of love to God, if you will, and so we do it well thanks to all of you. So looking forward to what the weeks and months and years ahead have in store, working with Father Chaponis, working with all of you, working with Kevin, and I'm hope to always be available for any questions or for needs you might have. What we'll be able to do together. So thank you. Looking forward to it.
And we'll have the photo booth with both of you back in the Gotta make sure we put something in the Pittsburgh tab. At this time, our treasurer is just going to give us a brief update as to how we're doing financially.
Our current ledger balance is $6,094. We did not have any deposits since our last meeting, and we just had expenses of $378. That does not include any monies that transacted tonight. Anyone else need a 50-50? Did I harass everybody for at least 5 or 10
Oh, God knows you tried. Pick that number, boy.
Thank you. Well, as soon as I get the word to pick the number.
Ginny is our facilitator for our next meeting, which, as you have already heard, is on Tuesday, October 2nd. Is there anything else we need to know? There's going to be a question and answer period available? Or?
There is, but she kind of needs to have a roundabout figure of how many people will be attending, because we have a limited number of seating in there. So I told her to expect maybe around 30 to 40. Do you think that's, because we don't have a check-off thing on the website for this one at all. We're just kind of going, whoever shows up.
I don't know that we'll get that many, because I don't know that there's
I told her the top number.
Directors.
She's got to put chairs in there for us and stuff, so.
Is anybody here planning on going? We'll just start with this group. So maybe 5 so far.
Okay.
So I would think more like 20.
20, 25 chairs.
Yeah, 25
Okay.
at the most. That's what I would just. Okay, and let's see. Anything else for the good of the order? Anybody on the leadership team? We need to thank our district liaisons. I asked Father Sam, I've been looking at all this on Mission for the Church Alive business, and I know that we're divided into 4 vicarious. I said, but in the past you also had it divided into districts, and we had district liaisons that would try to contact the people in their immediate area. And the response was, first, Father Joe Mealy, think about that. So I said, well, maybe we need to think about that. And he said, why don't you talk to Father Sam? So then Father Sam's response was, I don't think we've thought about that. And so he said, he needed to talk to the 4 vicars from the 4 vicariates, and which he did, and they said, we need to talk to the bishop about that. So, I don't know, I mean, we're thanking everybody that has served in that role as a district liaison. Now you're called a vicariate liaison, not that it matters that much to you. But as we put together our new configuration with this is parish grouping number 134 and this is whatever, until we have names for our new parishes, we still need you to help us and to be our communicators, okay? So look for an email regarding that soon. Anything else? Well then, Mr. Bela, drum roll please. What are the winnings tonight at our...
$84.
$84.
We'll ask our host to pick the number.
Oh.
The last 3 is 553.
553.
Pick another one.
Try again.
Steven Steinbach.
Steven Steinbach.
Let's verify this like a bingo. That is correct. Oh, they're going to donate it back to the chapter.
I want a dinner out.
Different diocese.
She wants a dinner out.
Oh, from Bill and Maria.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
yeah.
Sister had the longest distance, I guess.
Where's Bill and Maria?
It's almost a mile.
It's one of the last places in the diocese. And what county is that? Lawrence. Yeah, and some people said, oh, aren't we going back in January? No, we're not. We're not going back there in January, but we want to enjoy the beauty of the nature that is surrounding Villa Maria. So we're planning a retreat, an overnight retreat for next fall. And I've already talked to Sister, and she's already written this down. Pardon?
Sister Mary Jane said today, instead of coming in the winter, she said you ought to come when you can move around the grounds and everything.
Right. We did that because of Ann, because Ann always predicts at least 8 to 12 inches of snow the weekend of Martin Luther King. So we did it for you, Ann. So thank you for donating your winnings back. 9 o'clock, that's how long we wanted to stay tonight. So thank you.
One more thing.
Oh,
We thanked a lot of people tonight. I think we owe a very special thanks to Kevin.
The number of emails. We are going to try to compact that stuff. So if you have anything coming up in October or November, whether it's a concert or a recital or you're bringing in the Tamburitsans to dance somewhere or whatever, anything, we'd be happy to put that in our newsletter. But you have to get that to us by the end of September, which is only 6 days away. All right? So if you have anything planned for October, November, handbells, anything, please do that. Congratulations. We're looking for photographs. If you want to take a picture of your music ministry, we'd like to highlight them in a newsletter. Not every, I mean, maybe every newsletter, 1 or 2, but so please, consider sending in a picture of that. And we'll be putting in the St. Teresa of Avila flyer in our October newsletter. So, again, anybody new here? Want to make sure everybody feels welcome. Brian Hart, we're happy that he's here. He's been here before. Bridget, we've seen Bridget around. Kyle at St. Valentine's. Everybody knows Jennifer Gorski. Yes. She's at Point Breeze.
With Gerard. At
Right.
St. Bede. Yep.
With Gerard. Everybody else, I think, has been around here for a long time, except for Josh. Josh here, he's still trying to get over Candlemas. Yeah. All right. Oh, and David. David from Incarnation. And Teresa hosted one of our meetings last year. So make sure we all know one another. I think that's what it's all about. So thanks again, everybody. Oh, and we have some delicious food for you to take home to your spouse or significant other or a child. Please don't feed it to the dog. The food is too good. But we even have some takeout containers that I'm going to grab. So if you want to take something home, please feel free to do that. All right? Thanks again.